Hello, everyone. Welcome to FREEWrite Friday. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Jessica Lynn Johnson, and I am the founder and CEO of Soaring Solo Studios. And that is a company dedicated to the development and direction of one-person plays. So welcome. I am so happy to have you all here or watching back on YouTube later. A little bit more about Soaring Solo. This company represents performers all over the world and all over the US and internationally and all of that. And I see Heather is on this call today. Heather is a part of our team. She's a brilliant solo instructor and solo artist. And yeah, we've together worked on, well over 100 solo shows in this community and keep growing. And it's just such an amazing community. So I'm happy you're tuning in and becoming part of it. And please say hi in the chat. Let me know where you're tuning in from. Or again, if you're watching on YouTube, please feel free to put in the comments where you're tuning in from and what stage of solo theater development you are in these days. And the mission of FREEWrite Friday is just to gather together briefly. It takes about 20 minutes, and we just dive into some sort of talking point around structure or technique, tools, things like that. It's more of a heady experience than isolate, meditate, create, which I had done during the pandemic. So it's more focused in that way. And you're going to get some material written, which is exciting, and learn some stuff. So that's pretty much it with that. And go ahead and mark your calendar for October 7th for the next FREEWrite Friday. That's at 2 p.m. Pacific, 4 Central, 5 p.m. Eastern. And that's on my website as well if you like today and want to come back. And just make sure you have something to write with or write on. I also recommend, if you have something to record yourself, that can be really effective too. If sitting down and typing out something or writing in a journal gets you too much in your head, then sometimes it's effective just to walk around and record yourself and transcribe later and improvise a little bit more. So feel free to do that as well. Okay, let's see if there's anything else I'm forgetting with that. Okay, so today we are going to kick off looking at Blake Snyder's Save the Cat and his beats for story. And while Blake was a screenwriter in Los Angeles, I find that a lot of his beats for creating a story are completely applicable to the solo theater structure and are definitely worth considering when you're thinking about how you want to write your show. So if you haven't read Save the Cat, I would say get it, read it. It's a great book on creating story. So to begin, we're going to begin where Blake begins, which is opening image. So the opening image, and this is essentially the protagonist's life before the inciting incident happens. So what is their world like before? And when I say before, I mean before the adventure, before the journey, before the transformation and transition and change and growth. All of that happens in the show. This is just this moment in life before the character embarks on that path. So the opening image should also convey tones and styles of the show, themes that are going to be part of the show. So I'll give you an example that came to mind as I was thinking about this, and that is Yes, No, Maybe So, written by Catherine Barnes. It's a one-woman musical, and she has a very short opening image, and essentially all it is, she comes out on stage. We have on the projection screen a living room image, and she's talking to herself and perturbed about how this doctor's appointment went that she just went to. And as she's processing what just happened, she's using wit and I would say sarcasm and a little bit of dark humor. And she says that she either needs to write a song or take a shower to get through what just happened. And then all of a sudden we hear a toilet flush and she's like, okay, roommate is in the bathroom, so I guess I'm going to write a song. And she goes into the song, one of the opening songs of the show. So as an opening image, what do we glean from that? We learn our protagonist is probably in her 30s, young woman. She's living with a roommate. Music is going to be part of this show. Tonally, we're going to have some darker humor and some sarcasm and some wit. And, like with the toilet flushing right away, I think that was, we see there's going to be some sound design as well in comedic ways, perhaps. And also it lends itself to, because of the way she talks about the doctor's appointment, we know that we're going to run deep in the show as well. Even though we're going to be doing it comedically, we're going to hit on some deeper themes. So that's just one example of what an opening image can look like. So now I want you to go to your own work and wherever you're at in your solo theater journey. And today I'm really just focusing on autobiographical work, your own story, although this could be applicable to historic or biography sorts of solo shows as well. But I want you to think about the journey that you're going on in your solo show. And if you're still writing and figuring that out, just think about a time of major transformation, transition and growth and change. That's going to be the bulk of your story. So who were you before? Who were you before? What was your life circumstance before? What was your personality like before? Who were the people in your life before? And so we've got that part of it, just the kind of expositional details. But then we also have tonal details we want to be considering, such as, are you envisioning multimedia as part of your solo show? Are you thinking you'd like to incorporate music? And if so, is it original music? Is it copywritten material that you're going to be playing that captures the essence of that chapter of your life? Is there going to be sound design? Is there going to be multiple characters in your show that you want to start to give the audience a taste of? Those sorts of things. So we're thinking expositionally, the details of your life and your personality at that time, but we're also thinking tonally. And that also has to do with the style of writing. If it's going to be dark humor, start to show that right away. If it's going to be 1 hour drama style, show that right away. If it's going to be light and fluffy, show that right away. So we want to really guide the audience into the tone of the show in the opening image. So with all of that said, hopefully that's getting some things percolating and some juices flowing. And I'm going to set my timer for 8 minutes. And I just want you to write about whatever came up for you as you think about the opening image. So this doesn't have to be like a formal monologue or even an opening scene. If that came to you, great. But maybe you're thinking more in terms of songs or people who are in your life at that time, or personality traits, or maybe you're even just trying to figure out, well, what is that journey that I went on that I would need to figure out what my opening image, my before moment even is. So there's no way to do this wrong. I just want you to start to explore the idea of an opening image and write about it for 8 minutes, or as I said, record and transcribe later. And I will let you know when your time is up. And I'll be putting some things in the chat as well, but don't worry about that right now. Okay, go for it. about 4.5 minutes left. About 20 seconds left. Okay, and please wrap up your writing. If you wrote in a journal or if you recorded, I definitely encourage you to transcribe it. Put these ideas somewhere in your computer and keep them safe and growing into a script. And I would say the takeaway that I'll leave you with on the opening image is just that we all know first impressions are really important. And so in your solo show, the first impression you make with your audience is very important. So really give that thought. And the opening image might be something that really gets finessed much later in your creative process, because you'll know more about your show and what it turns out to be later in the creative process. And then you might fine tune the opening image to really reflect where we're headed in the show itself. So you can start to let that percolate, but you might not actually know what it's going to be until later in your writing journey. Okay, and then I'll wrap up today with just walking you through the announcements. We always have so much happening in the Soaring Solo community, so I put that in the chat, and I'll just walk you through it. So my free class, The Art of Creating the One-Person Play, which I've taught for well over a decade at this point, is happening on Saturday, October 15th at 10 a.m. Pacific, noon Central, 1 p.m. Eastern. That's on Zoom. You can sign up under free stuff on my website, soaringSoloStudios.com. You don't have to have any experience, but if you do, you're welcome as well. I meet you where you're at, and we go to the next level together. And if you're wanting professional feedback from either Heather or myself, feel free to email me at soaringsoloartist@gmail.com. We can set up an initial consultation or get you plugged in to our small groups or our power pairs. We also do intensives. So there's a lot of ways to get involved in the community and get more professional eyes and feedback on the work that you're doing. And even if you've already written your show and you're touring, but you want more touring opportunity ideas or looking at the producing aspect of things, it doesn't necessarily all have to be about performing and writing. It can also be the business side of things that we take a deep look at as well. So let me know if you're interested in that. And then Revealed is a virtual reading series that Heather and I have been doing for about a year, I think it's been. And I was just going to do it for a few months, and then it just really started going well. And so we've been doing it, and it's ongoing, and will probably always be a part of the Soaring Solo fabric, because virtual readings or readings of any kind are so important to the creation process, letting your audience in, getting their feedback, seeing where your blind spots are. And then for you as a performer, dipping your toe in, this is not for everyone. It's very brave work. So just letting yourself dip your toe in the water by doing a reading and getting feedback before you commit it to stage is a really important part of the process. So if you're interested in being a part of Revealed, you can email me about that as well. It's an ongoing series. We work together to find the right day and time for that. There's usually multiple episodes of Revealed every month. So let me know and we'll talk about it. And then my next FREEWrite Friday, as I said earlier, is October 7th, 2 p.m. Pacific, 4 Central, 5 p.m. Eastern. And if you wanted to watch all the playbacks of FREEWrite Friday, you can go to my YouTube channel and watch all of those. There's quite a few of them that have accumulated now at this point. And the last thing I'll say is there is a ton of solo theater performances coming up, starting in October and going all the way through, honestly, through March. And then we take a little break and then we go into Hollywood Fringe, but there's a lot happening. So if you go to my website under upcoming solo shows, which is under the events tab, you'll see Binge Fringe at the Santa Monica Playhouse is coming up. United Solo in New York City is happening. What else? The Soaring Solo Stars series is October through December, which is featuring almost 30 solo shows that Heather and I are co-producing. And that's going to be at the Hudson and the Zephyr Theater. I feel like I'm forgetting something. Oh, Solo Fest is January through March, and then the LA Women's Theater Festival is happening in March. So there's a ton coming up. So if you are new to solo theater and you want to learn, the very best teacher is going to see a ton of solo shows. Even if they're horrible by your estimation, you're going to learn so much about why they were horrible. And if they're wonderful by your estimation, you're going to feel inspired. You're going to get ideas and hopefully find some camaraderie and community with all the different solo artists that you're meeting by going and seeing shows. And then when you perform yours, you'll actually have butts in seats who want to support you telling your story as well. So that's it for now. I'm going to jump off, but I will leave the chat up if you want to keep saying hi to each other, jotting down the announcements and things like that. But thank you for joining me today, and I hope this was useful. Bye.